Hey, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co, and today I'm going to be going over the top 10 highest rated games on Board Game Geek that didn't work for me. And specifically highest rated, not highest ranked. I'll talk through my methodology. I'll talk through my methodology in a second over here. I am doing this with 3 cats in the video, 1, 2, and the fluff of a tail over here of number 3, because it's cold outside. It's, it's 1 degree weather outside right now, and there's a snowstorm happening. I don't know when this video goes up, but when this video was filmed, that was going on, and I got a space heater around here, and they're all cuddled up. So, we're gonna dive into it. But with that said, let's start off with a word from our sponsor over Allplay over here. Allplay.com is a site where you can get a variety of different things, from board game tables to board game shelves to board games, of course. But one thing we don't talk about enough, or at least I don't talk about enough, is their playmats. They don't just have playmats, they have artist illustrated playmats. You can head to the site, find out a bunch of these over here. Check out a regular playmat if you want those. They have a lot of things you can check out. But with that, let's go ahead and talk about this video. I'm going to be going over, like I said already, the top 10 highest rated games. And specifically what I did is I went to the Board Game Geek Advanced Search over here. So I went over here, I pulled up the Advanced Search where I click over there, and I searched for anything that was rated a 8 to a 10, so anywhere between an 8 to a 10, specifically with a at least 100 ratings to avoid anyone that, rated their own game or something. I avoided expansions to clarify. Anyone that only rated their own game a 10 and it's got 1 rating, that would be a 10, which would be not what I'm looking for. Hit submit over here, and then I sorted it by the highest rated, not the geek rating, but the highest average rating, and from there I went down here over here, finding realistic things, not like the Gones of Dunshire, finding games I've played, and only paying attention, excluding anything that was a iteration. So for example, Final Girl Season 3 Ultimate Box is not the original Final Girl. Things like that often have a higher rating. I'm looking for original titles, things like Iridia or Pandora's Legacy, which isn't out yet, so it's all that. But I'm looking for original things, and I went through finding the 10 highest ranked things. But as all said is done, I have those 10. We're going to be going through these in order of lowest rating all the way to the highest rating, and I'll be talking about my thoughts on them. But a very important disclaimer over here is this does not mean that I did not like the games. It means that they didn't work for me. So in some cases, I've enjoyed individual plays of them. In other cases, I think that they're pretty decent, but not necessarily for me. And in some cases, I actively did not like them. But for me, these are specifically games that they're well loved by others, and it's not well loved by me. That does not mean I dislike it. In some cases I do, and in some cases it's just not well liked by me. With that said, let's go ahead and dive into it. Starting off with, we have number 1, or number 10, counting our way down, is Clank Catacombs. Clank Catacombs is part of the Clank series of games, and I did debate this one, by the way, because I know I just told you, I didn't include iterations. Clank Catacombs was, a stand enough on its own, I have another one of those later in the video, but, I just didn't want, deluxe boxes or a special edition or whatever. Clank Catacombs is an iteration of the Clank ecosystem, an ecosystem that I've always thought was fine and never particularly loved, which is a shame because it is particularly loved, and it's more of a shame because everything about Clank, to me, is the type of system that I should love. When I look, sometimes you look at a great game, it's highly rated, people love it, and you're like, that doesn't appeal to me. In which case, don't get it. Not all great games are going to be for you. Clank Catacombs totally 100% appeals to me in every possible capacity of it. It's a deck builder, it's got a map over here, so it's a deck builder with a board, you're collecting stuff, there's an element to push the other players or push your luck to a certain extent. A lot of good things happening here. Catacombs will give you a modular board, so it kind of iterated upon the system, so it wasn't a static board. I love that. And still, even with Clank Catacombs, the system is never... I've always thought the system was enjoyable, I've never thought the system was amazing, and I don't know why that is. Clank Catacombs was just the newest one where I was like, I'll try it out, I'll try it, and a modular board, that's got to add to it. It didn't for me. It's a well-loved game, it's a well-loved system. For me, Clank Catacombs is a totally fine deck builder. You should probably try it out if it appeals to you. It is loved by many. For me, it's a totally fine deck builder with a board. Number 9. Final Girl, coming in at 8.2. Is that on an 8.2 as well? I think so, yeah. An 8.2 with Final Girl over here. Final Girl was always it's a well-loved game. It's one of the best solo games of all time, if not the best. I don't know what the best one is. I'd have to look over there. But people love this game. It's a game of push your luck. It's a game of storytelling. And to be fair, I'll say that it does craft an excellent story as you play. There are some really fun stories that are created when you play Final Girl. That part it gets top tier marks from me from. But the gameplay mechanics, I always felt it was cascading failure is the term I use. Cascading failure is the idea that as things go bad for you in the game, your chances of recovering are even worse. As you roll poorly, you have even less assets, resources, things you can do in the game. So it's not just that you failed the thing you were trying to. It's not just that you didn't get that cool item that will help you. It's that things actively get worse when the game goes badly for you. And I've never liked that mechanic in any game. And in Final Girl, I also don't like it. Yes, there's mitigation. Yes, there's things you can do. Yes, there's a lot of stuff going on. Ultimately, I always felt that either things are going well for you, in which case things are great, or things are going poorly for you, in which case they go south very, very quickly. I am sure expert Final Girl players will tell me how I'm wrong with that. That's totally fine. I've played this game enough times that I know it's not for me. It's fine. I've enjoyed it, and again, I think it does craft an excellent story, but for me, the gameplay was not as much for me personally, so Final Girl is one that I am happy other players like it. Again, it's one that I'm sad about, because one of the things I like, talking about things I enjoy in games, I enjoy games that give you that modularity, that give you like, you have a character, you have a setting, you have all these things you can mix and match within Final Girl to craft your own particular story, but for me, ultimately, I want to like it, and I just think it's okay. Command number 8, we have Nemesis. Nemesis is a game that I loved once upon a time. I thought, well, once upon a time meaning my first play. My first play of Nemesis, I loved to the point that I put up a dedicated video being like, this was one of the best experiences ever. I see why people love this game. The more I played Nemesis, the more I found that it sometimes gave me that experience, and other times it gave me, wasn't for me. It's never been a bad play, but when you sit down to play for like 2-3 hours of a game and it's just like, that wasn't the best experience, I find that every time I played Nemesis, I was signing up for an unknown quantity. Am I going to love this session and think it crafts an excellent story and thinks it tells a great job and then gives me like this degree of betrayal and working together but not together? Because in Nemesis, you're trying to kind of accomplish your own goals in the game. Although you could play it cooperatively, I've actually enjoyed the cooperative play more, I'd say. Well, not saying more, but I think it was possibly more stable. But the game crafts an excellent story in the sense that you are trying to accomplish your own goals, which may work up with other players and may sync up. Like, ultimately, there's aliens trying to kill you. You generally want to stop those aliens, so you kind of are aligned to a certain extent, but then whether one player is trying to get the ship to go to a different destination, whether one player is trying to escape, whether one player is trying to bring back the eggs, destroy the eggs, there are different goals you are working towards in the game, and sometimes I have found that that tells an excellent story, a game where everyone is involved. It's almost like a party game, but in a strategy game, but not really. It's a lot. Like, a lot. When it goes well, it goes really, really well. And when it goes not well, it's just 2 to 3 hours of a game where I could have played a lot of other games that I enjoy more. And over time, for me, Nemesis became a game that I realized I wasn't pulling off the shelf because I don't like games that give me an inconsistent user experience. I like games that give me a consistent user experience, and Nemesis wasn't that. I am going to adjust this camera up now that I have a cat not on my lap, because I'm slouching because he likes to sleep against me, but the slouching is functional but not comfortable. Anyways, moving to the next one over here, we have Blood on the Clocktower. Oh my gosh, the video that has gotten the most hate on my entire channel. My Blood on the Clocktower video has the most hate of any single video. In fact, I have 2 of them, and they're both hated. We're not going to get heavily into it now. I could do a whole video talking about Blood on the Clocktower and the Blood on the Clocktower fan base. But let's just say that I'm probably not their favorite person. I've probably annoyed a lot of Blood on the Clocktower players, including the crew from Blood on the Clocktower. I probably should do a whole video with this. Whatever. Anyways, Blood on the Clocktower. It's not for me. I've played it several times now. I've played it. This part I am going to go into. I have had so many people tell me that I have played Blood on the Clocktower wrong. That all my plays of Blood on the Clocktower are completely wrong, and therefore they do not represent a Blood on the Clocktower experience. What I will say to that is, you might be right. You could absolutely be right. But one of those plays was run by like a full convention, Blood on the Clocktower person running the game, whatever they're called again. I can't remember the term for them. The other plays were with multiple groups of people who have all played Blood on the Clocktower in separate groups, like 3 or 4 different groups, where people from different groups were playing together, and not a single one of those people said, oh my gosh, we're playing Blood on the Clocktower wrong. Like, how are we doing this? So what I can completely say with certainty is, I may well be playing Blood on the Clocktower wrong, but if I am, I have played with multiple groups of people who didn't call out that that was not the way to play the game. So maybe a lot of people are playing it wrong? Maybe. Who's to say? Either way, what I can say is Blood on the Clocktower is fine for me. Like, my first play was definitely very bad, but my first play I also said was, I said in that original video that a lot of those factors were things that were specific to the situation, not specific to the game. There were some things about the game that I don't like, and some things about the situation that I don't like. What I can say is, since then, I have when given a choice of watching people play Blood on the Clocktower or playing Blood on the Clocktower, I have chosen to watch. Like, not to go to something else. I'd rather watch than play. I don't find the game enjoyable to play. I'd rather be a spectator to the experience. There's a lot of reasons I can go into that, but this is the first one on the list that I actively dislike, as opposed to just not necessarily being for me. It is well loved. It has a passionate fan base. One might say too passionate, but it's not a game that I feel the need to play. I am happy it works for many other people. I am not one of those people. What are we up to? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Number 6 over here. Euthia, Torment of Resurrection. Euthia is a game that I enjoy. But again, a lot of these I enjoy, but the question is to what extent, to what degree, to what capacity, all that. Euthia is one that I ultimately feel that it's way too long of an experience with way too many rules, and if I'm going to engage in something like that, I would rather just play Mage Knight. That's ultimately my main complaint against Euthia. It feels like an inferior version of Mage Knight. Mage Knight is an excellent game that I still have critiques against to a certain extent, mainly how easy it is to table, but if I'm going to table something like that, I would rather play Mage Knight. Euthia was fun. I enjoyed Euthia. There's a degree of collecting things, of leveling up your character, of exploring the world. All those things are good things. But ultimately it feels too long, too drawn out, too rules laden, and if I'm going to dive into something like that, I would rather do that with something that does that same experience better, which to me is Mage Knight. So again, it's not that I don't enjoy Euthia, it's that if I'm going to invest this much into a game like Euthia, I would rather play Mage Knight. There are other games too, by the way. I'm just using Mage Knight as like the closest comparison of a game experience that gives me what Euthia does, but does so for me significantly better, with a lot more control over how I build my actual character and their abilities. It just feels a lot more synergistic as opposed to like kind of dice rolling kind of situation. It just feels like a lot better. Then we have Imperium Horizons over here. Number, what are we up to? 5 over here. Imperium Horizons is one that I was very excited for as well, because deck building, a Euro deck building game, that seems very much up my alley. I like deck building, I like optimization, I like that kind of experience. And when I played it, I didn't like it. I just didn't like it. It was not for me. I tried it several times because, like, you know, maybe it's just like the first play or whatever. And I don't remember which one I played first. There's several games in the Imperium universe, but I played one of the Imperium games, so maybe Classics, Legends. I think I played Classics or Legends. In fact, maybe Imperium Horizons shouldn't be here, arguably. Maybe based on my rules, whatever. Whatever one I played, I dove into it. I thought it had some interesting things happening, but ultimately felt far too tedious and rules-laden for the experience I was getting out of it. It felt like there was too much. I didn't feel rewarded as I played. I felt like I was working really, really hard for any one individual point. It didn't feel like it's one of those games that I feel it works. I can see why others like it. I can understand why it might be for someone. But for me, it just felt like a slog. It felt like a slog of an experience that I can see the appeal, but I'm staring at the appeal through like a tinted window where I can just kind of make it out, and it's not for me. Again, I should like it. Deck building in general, like this and Clank, deck building is a mechanic that I love, and I am surprised that I do not love this one, but it is what it is. But number 4, the second highest rated game on Board Game Geek currently is Ark Nova. Ark Nova is the number 4 over here. Is number 4 on this list, the highest rated game on Ark Nova, on BGG, second highest rated game on BGG. For context, there is a difference between rankings and ratings. In general, this is the second highest ranked game on Board Game Geek based on the way BGG does their scoring, but you could have games that have a higher score than an 8.5, they just have less ratings. Longer story about BGG ratings. Anyways, Ark Nova over here, an 8.5. I think Ark Nova is fine. I've enjoyed it. I've played it 10 plus times. Like, that's not like I don't play games 10 times if I don't think it's a fun experience. But I kept playing it 10 plus times because I talked about this in my review, I always wanted to get from thinking it was very good, or thinking it was good, to thinking it was great. I always felt on the cusp of, maybe if I just play it a little bit more, I'll find that element that brings it all together and makes it feel like an incredible experience that others so clearly see. Because I don't see that. I see a good game. I have had fun with Ark Nova. I would play Ark Nova again. It's not bad. But, like, not bad is not exactly the mental designator I want to give to a game that's the second highest rated game on Board Game Geek. It's an 8.5. It feels like it's the kind of mechanics that I would love in a game. Like, I love Terraforming Mars, and a lot of people, some people always say, like, I don't understand why they're compared. Other people are like, these are comparable games. They feel comparable. When I look at a distance, they feel comparable. And yet, Terraforming Mars I adore and love and will play anytime you want. And Ark Nova is like, yeah, I guess I'll try it again. Maybe this time will be the time that it all comes together for me and it feels like it really, really, really works. As it is, I still think it's a good tableau builder game with, like, I guess the one critique I got a lot of in my review was there were a bunch of people who said, like, you didn't mention it's a race, and because you didn't mention it's a race, you don't understand the game. I don't know what to tell you. Like, there's always going to be die-hard fans of a game who tell other people who don't like that game that you're doing it wrong, that your opinion is invalid because you don't see it the way I see it. Sometimes you'll be right about that. Sometimes, like, the reality of life is that sometimes when someone doesn't like something you don't like, it is because they don't understand something. They got something wrong. Maybe it's the rules. Maybe they're playing it wrong. Sometimes that's the case. Other times it's because people don't always vibe with the same things. We have different opinions. We experience different things. Again, going back to Blood on the Clocktower, all the other people who played Blood on the Clocktower wrong the same way that I was, enjoy it. They enjoy it a lot more. I don't. So, like, sometimes in life, it's okay when other people don't love the things you don't. Now, to be very clear, Ark Nova is no blood on the Clocktower for me. I enjoy Ark Nova. I would never watch Ark Nova. I would play it happily. I think it's a good game. But for me, it's a solid 3.5 in a world full of 4.5s and 5s, out of 5s, by the way. And that's just it's not the experience I'm going to seek out for a 2+ hour experience. It is an experience I will happily play, because there's still a part of me that thinks maybe one day I'll get it. Maybe one day it'll all click together. And it's not that I don't win. I've won Ark Nova multiple times. This isn't a lack of being able to understand how to play it so that you can win the game. This is a lack of feeling it all come together in a way that is super rewarding, as opposed to, like, it's fun. It's a good game. My number 3 over here is Frosthaven. And Gloomhaven could be here as well. I just chose Frosthaven as the higher ranked one, but, you know, Gloomhaven could be in this list just as easily. And Frosthaven and Gloomhaven, these are not critiques on the game itself. I actually think Frosthaven and Gloomhaven as a genre or whatever, I think they do some brilliant things. They give you some excellent card play, some character-driven advancement in the game. There's a lot of good things going on in these games that make them fun experiences. Also, for me personally, I have always felt that there's never a great way to play these games. Either I'm playing them digitally, and I lose out on a lot of the tactile aspect of the game. I also lose out on the ability to cheat the system when I need to make sure I'm having fun. What I mean by that specifically is sometimes you need to fudge a roll. Sometimes you need to say, we're going to draw that card again. Sometimes you need to say, we're going to say, we accomplish that scenario and move on. Especially in a game with this much scenarios, with this much going on, the players should have a degree of control over making sure they are having fun and not feeling like it's a grind. I am a big fan of that. You might be like, how dare you? Alex cheats in solo games. Well, solo or cooperative games, assuming everyone's on board with it, and in a solo game, everyone is just me. I am absolutely a fan of making sure you enjoy the experience. There is a delicate balance, I will say that. There are other game systems where sometimes it gets to a point where as soon as you are willing to cheat, the game stops becoming a challenge because suddenly you're willing to cheat all the time, and you could destroy your own fun. So you need to be careful about how you implement this. With games like Frosthaven, when I've played it physically, I am careful about how I implement it, and I enjoy that. I don't enjoy the setup, the maintenance, the managing things, the following up where things are if I haven't played it in 2 months. I don't enjoy any of that. Digitally, that helps, but then you're locked into a system that, again, can be grindy at times, and for me, ultimately, again, I want to be clear, I have put over 300 hours into the world of Frosthaven, Jaws of the Lion, Gloomhaven, all of that. I've easily put over 300 hours into this universe. I don't think it's a bad game. I think it's a game that's deserving of 300 hours, but ultimately for me, I never finished I finished Jaws of the Lion, but I never finished Frosthaven or Gloomhaven, and I don't feel the need to. And they're still good games. They deserve the reputation they have, I think, but for me, they're not for me anymore. My number 2. Number 1 are actually the same publisher over here. Number 2 over here is Kingdoms Forlorn, and to be fair, on number 2 and on number 1, I have only played the prototype. I debated putting this here because maybe that's not a good experience of them, but in both cases, I've only played the prototype, but they so don't work for me, I wanted to talk with them. Kingdoms Forlorn, I thought was an absolute slog. I played the prototype, I thought it was incredibly rules heavy, a lot of dice checks, a lot of roll the dice to see if you do this, roll the dice to see if you do that. I don't see the fun in that experience. I did not enjoy it one bit. I am glad it works for others. It's an 8.9 on Board Game Geek with a 526 ratings. That is nothing to be ashamed of. I thought it was a horrific slog, and I do not like it. I would not play it again. And I put a lot of time into that prototype too, by the way. Like, Kingdoms Forlorn, I played a lot. Like, it's not for me. I don't know what it is. I don't know what makes one game work for somebody else. Again, people love this game. People are super into this experience, and I felt it was so, like, I love the characters. Like, the world building, the characters, they have, like, this egg night. They have these fun things going on here that really had a lot of charm in it. I love that. The rest of it bounced off hard. And my number 1 is Aeon's Trespass Odyssey, 2,700 ratings, a 9 rating. That's a tremendous accomplishment. I'm so glad this game works for others. Again, I played the prototype, and they're clearly built on the same DNA. The way the target audience for this game is clearly not me. Both of these games, Kingdoms Forlorn and Aeon's Trespass Odyssey, because they both are incredibly well liked by a certain sector. And for me, in both cases, I just felt like they were just too much rules, too much checks, too many things that I didn't appreciate. And I don't mind luck in a game at all. I play a lot of games with a lot of luck, but I felt like, and I don't know, because like I'm assuming players who play this a lot will say, what do you mean luck? Like, there's a lot of mitigation, there's strategy, there's all those things. Like, I just felt that so much of what you do is a victim to the situation at hand, and there's a ton of rules in the way to get there. Like, for me, this is an overly simplistic argument, but it is to a certain extent the way I feel. if you're going to make an entire thing work based off of luck, just have me roll a die and move on. Don't have me learn the process of a 17-step rules check for me to ultimately come down to a die roll or a card draw that can totally mess things up anyway. Now granted, those who know the systems well will have again, I can do this with games you don't like as well. I recognize the reality of different viewpoints. I recognize the fact that we all see things and experience things differently, and we all appreciate certain nuances and hate others. I love Lost Winds of Arnak, and somebody will be like, oh, you do this, you get that, you get a point. Congratulations. Everyone can make something else sound terrible, but if they didn't vibe with it, and everyone who loves that game can explain the intricacies of why it works for them, I completely respect that. What I'm saying is, for me personally, I'm like, just have me roll a die and skip those 14 pages of rules if that's what it's going to come down to in both of these game systems. They're both incredible accomplishments as far as the rules they are building, the sheer amount of content, obviously the way they've been received by the public. But for me, both of them, I bounced off hard. Those are my top 10 highest ranked games, highest rated games on Board Game Geek. I didn't do the rankings. This is based on ratings. I want to see the highest rated games that have at least 100 ratings, that stand on their own, that people love them, and which ones did or didn't work for me. Again, some of these I think I'm totally fine with. Clank Catacombs, I'm happy. Like Clank Catacombs, Final Girl, Nemesis, Ark Nova, and arguably Frosthaven because I spent so much time there. I would say they're all games that I've enjoyed. I don't love them the way others do. I've enjoyed all of them. I've appreciated all of them. Arguably the Frosthaven system I've appreciated the most because of how much time I spent in it. But then other games like Blood on the Clocktower, Euthia, Imperium Horizons, Kingdoms Forlorn, and Aeon Trespass, those are games I actively would be reminiscent. And Euthia's even Euthia is a complicated one because Euthia is one where I enjoy Euthia. I would just rather play other games. So like 5 I would happily play again-ish. 4 I actively don't want to play, and 1 that I would just rather play other games, which makes it more complicated. But in any case, these are mine. Let me know in the comments down below, which game did you bounce off hard that everyone else seems to love, that it's like well-loved, well-respected, people adore it, and you're like, I don't see it. I don't understand. Like, for me, I don't understand why Kingdoms Forlorn and Aeon Trespass Odyssey are the ratings that they are. Others too, by the way. I'm just picking those two as the last two. But I recognize that they are the ratings that they are. I recognize that they are loved. In any case, and until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, I hope you have a good one.